Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about One Piece chapter 990. Uh, yeah, cool. Here we are. Let's talk about One Piece. One thing I want to say, okay, I guess I should start. This was a pretty cool chapter. Obviously, it features X Drake joining Luffy's side. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. Another supernova joins the ranks. I've given up hope for Basil Hawkins. I would love it if he got to be more relevant. I actually thought like Law would have ended him, but all right, that's cool too. That's cool too. Oda never wants to really end characters if he doesn't have to. Fine, whatever. But yeah, I'm very happy for Drake to be on Luffy's side here, and I like the rhetoric that led up to it. But chapter 990 has a few points that I think are interesting to look at. But before that, I just want to say, going back to chapter 989, I just want to talk about the spread of all the Straw Hats together, because I couldn't talk about it last week because I ran out of time. But yeah, in terms of this spread, I just want to say, and I don't want to get involved in all the power discussions, but I feel like this spread is Oda's way of saying that Jinbei is stronger than Sanji. I mean, I know that's a pretty contentious thing. Like, this is something that people complain about. They're very scared of Jinbei because of what it would mean for Sanji. And honestly, when you look at the way Sanji's been treated, you know, the idea that Jinbei is stronger, because like, let's face it, Jinbei is the guy that got away from Big Mom and took down a bunch of her ships in the process. Jinbei is legitimate force. So when you have this little color spread, or sorry, not color spread, this spread here, you know, you have Zoro on Luffy's left, and then you have Jinbei right there on Luffy's right. You know, that would have usually been a position that was left for Sanji, but here we are. We're kind of in this position. Now, ideally, you want to be in a situation where Jinbei, Zoro, and Sanji are all at the same level, but it's hard. It's hard to say that. It's hard to say that, especially like the power level purist should be having quite a doozy with now having Sanji having Germa science on his body as his form of a power up, because that makes things not as clean, right? Because now it's like, well, Jinbei doesn't have any power ups on his body, and he's still like super powerful. It's just that kind of like people could talk like that now, and for any of the Sanji fanboys, it's like they're probably going to be experiencing a lot more disparaging comments. Like any comment about Zoro and Sanji being equal in strength, you know, that's something I think hasn't been true for a while, and definitely not true when it comes to what's going on. Well, like, I mean, you know what? I don't want to be mean. It's more an issue like, if they fought 100 times, I'm certain that Sanji could win like 30 of the times, at least, right? It's that kind of thing. If Sanji and Jinbei fought 100 times, I don't know. I really don't know. We need to see more fights here. We need to see how exactly Oda wants to show this off. But yeah, it's just gonna be very interesting. I'm sure the power discussion is gonna be very interesting as we go into the future. As to where I want things, I really would like it if Zoro and Sanji are effectively at the same power level. But it does just get a little bit, it gets a little bit tricky because Zoro's the only one that hasn't been pushed to the limit in New World, and we know that because he's never used his Enies Lobby power up that he got, that he used in Enies Lobby, that being Azura. So as long as he hasn't done that, we can say he's not really being pushed here, which is just an interesting thought. Anyway, going over into chapter 990 now properly. Let me know what you guys think about the power dynamics. Let me know what you guys are expecting soon to happen as people discuss this more. And let's just talk about the chapter. So, first page I thought was valuable was seeing Sasaki get away. So it was interesting to know that a sacred tree was cut down, and that's how he was able to shake himself loose. Interesting stuff, and also good to know that he saw Denjiro as a friend. Now, the next little bit is the Minks fighting the Kaido forces. So it's interesting that a few of them are taking on the numbers, because you can kind of tell it because of the lightning effects. It's cool that Kaido is just kind of watching. And then you also have a shot where you get to see Jack. And Jack looks worse for wear. Like, he has a lot of swords sticking in him. He's bleeding a little bit. So he is getting hurt, but we are seeing that the Minks are falling over. Like, the zebra dude is down. And one of, I think, Nekomamushi's boys is down as well. It's unfortunate. I really hoped that an army of Minks powered up could do more. But I guess this is the world of One Piece, where when you are one of the big guys, you are one of the big guys. I am excited to see the hybrid form for Jack, though. And it's cool to see him struggling. But then we have Nekomamushi and Inugarashi, or Dog and Cat, whatever they're called, going in to fight with Jack. Now, that's interesting. It's unfortunate that the 9 Scarbirds aren't going to be there just to take down Kaido, because these two are going to have to be really exhausted. Oda's still hiding their design, so I hope to see it soon. I hope it's going to be neat. Also, just a note on the Sulong form designs. I feel like a lot of them are just so generic, whereas Carrots seemed so much more striking. The other page of interest was, I think, page 7, where you had X-Drake and Basil talking. Now, one of the things that I'm just interested in is that Hawkins is again doing a little bit of his fortune telling to figure out the chances of a certain man surviving on tomorrow. Now, I'm looking at that, and initially I would have thought, oh, is he looking at Luffy's percentage? Because we know Luffy has ridiculous percentages. They're ridiculously low. But then you see the rest of the chapter, and it's like, well, is he looking at Hawkins? Is he looking at Drake's percentage of surviving? And when you look at that, I think it's more probable than he was. When you look at Drake's rhetoric, he's talking about having hope, right? If there's one way of going about this, it's going to be with Luffy. That 1% seems to be indicating that thing. It's based on that choice. There's a 1% chance of him surviving if he's with Luffy, kind of thing. Knowing that Luffy's associated with those kind of percentages, that kind of makes sense to me. That said, I think we still haven't gotten to the end of Act 3 in Wano, I believe. I know I saw people mentioning this, and we were told that when it comes to Kabuki theater, those acts, the third act ends in tragedy. So I can only really imagine, like, what is going to be the tragedy here? Who is going to, like, get screwed up in this whole process? Because we've had a lot of big hits. Anyway, at that point in the chapter, you find out that the Toby Ropo are being united, and I forget the other guy's name, but Drake is brought out. Now, the other page that was worthwhile of looking, it was at page 10. I saw something interesting when the advisor to Orochi just kind of leaves the battlefield. Now, Oda took the effort to show that he was leaving. That could be two things. One, he doesn't have any interest in the fight anymore. Or two, he's an Orochi loyalist and he's going to go help Orochi somehow. Like, he's the leader of the ninjas. So it's just kind of interesting what was going on there. I wonder if that's going to turn into something later in the battle. Like, I can't really imagine what it is aside from just helping Orochi out. Because again, Orochi, he's got a devil fruit that has 9 heads. It's a mythical devil fruit. Cut off the head of Yamato no Orochi and you're going to get another head or something like that, right? So that's why I'm just interested as to how this is going to go. I could see the guy coming back still, and this might be the way through. He might also be on his way to steal treasure. Who knows? Anyway, on page 12 and 13, you have some cool stuff. Zoro cutting off the club, and then you have Jinbei just catching it casually. And then you have Luffy, of course, making that comment that things are different than when they fought Oars. I love that everyone was looking so confident as they saw that big form, except for Usopp, because Usopp isn't confident. Anyway, we go into page 14 and 15, which I think are, like, again, the Drake pages, which are super interesting. It just tells us that they know that Drake was the one to let go of Law, and I didn't think that was a big surprise. I thought that was pretty clear after you saw the feat in in the chapter where Law left the jail cell. Now, one thing I do want to say is that unfortunately, this is again a sign of really fast pacing. Like, One Piece has been fast ever since we got into Wano. Because you don't get to see the moment that Drake gets cut down. You don't really know what injured him. You just see that there's a little bit of a scuff mark on the blade, which tells you maybe he got hit over the head or something like that. So, interesting stuff. Good to know that Drake's not a traitor. He's not going to let anything go. But when you just have this transition over to Drake ready on the floor, it just reminds you, like, yeah, we are going pretty fast with One Piece. Anyway, Drake's escape is pretty interesting. I guess he had bombs on him, and then seeing him go into his hybrid form and help out Luffy was pretty neat. So I guess that's the last thing that I really want to talk about. I just love the idea of Drake saying he still has hope, and the whole time he's thinking that it's pretty much going to be Luffy, and that he has Kobe's words encouraging him to do that. It's just really neat. It's really neat that this is how he's going about things. It's really neat that that's where he's putting all his bets on. It's on Luffy. I really hope both of them survive. But yeah, no, man, that's super exciting. And Luffy's the kind of guy that accepted Crocodile into his ranks during the war. I'm sure he's going to accept Drake, especially after seeing the guy just whack one of those giants out of the sky. So I'm very excited. Now, unfortunately, there is no chapter next week, so we have to wait a little bit to see another supernova join up. But now we have like 4 supernovas. That's like Kid, Law, Drake, and Luffy, and they're all working together. I do wonder if Drake's crew is still around, so maybe Drake's crew will also show up. But like again, we don't really have a really strong idea of people's crews anymore. Like once you're a captain, but you're also inside of a organization of Yonko, it seems like your crew stops existing. Because like we never saw Ace's crew ever again once Ace became part of the Whitebeards. So it's just kind of interesting. I hope that he has one or two people hanging around to help him. It's just kind of funny that our most developed crews, when we talk about the most developed supernova crews, it's funny, you know, Law and Kid, they're kind of to be expected. Like I know there's like 4 members, including Kid for Kid's crew, but then you have Capone, who seems to have the most detailed crew, alongside Law, Luffy, and Kid. It's just kind of interesting where we are with that. It'd be funny if Drake comes out of this with no one. Any Hoosers, that was cool. That was super cool. I think Chapter 990 was pretty exciting, and I'm excited to see how this goes. It's cool that we finally have the whole thing about who wants to be killed, blah, 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 sorted out with the Flying Six. I do want to see where we go from here. Anyway, everyone, let me know what you thought down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen. Let me know what you think about the power structure. And yeah, till next time. Hope you have an absolutely great day.